Question 1. What was the main purpose of the Statute of Dublin in 1284? A. To establish English rule over Scotland. B. To codify the laws of Wales. C. To annex Wales into the Kingdom of England. D. To reform the English Church. Answer: C. To annex Wales into the Kingdom of England. The Statute of Dublin in 1284 was enacted to annex Wales into the Kingdom of England, introducing English common law to Wales. Question 2. In which year did the Peasants' Revolt take place, and what sparked it? A. 1215, due to the signing of the Magna Carta. B. 1381, due to a series of poll taxes. C. 1455, due to the Wars of the Roses. D. 1642, due to the English Civil War. Answer: B. 1381, due to a series of poll taxes. The Peasants' Revolt took place in 1381, sparked by the imposition of a series of poll taxes. Question 3. Name the two houses that fought in the Wars of the Roses. A. Lancaster and York. B. Tudor and Stuart. C. Windsor and Hanover. D. Plantagenet and Tudor. Answer: A. Lancaster and York. The Wars of the Roses were fought between the houses of Lancaster and York. Question 4. Who was the first monarch of the House of Tudor? A. Elizabeth I. B. Henry VII. C. Henry VIII. D. Mary I. Answer: B. Henry VII. Henry VII was the first monarch of the House of Tudor, coming to power after the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. Question 5. What significant event did the Act of Supremacy in 1534 lead to? A. The English Civil War. B. The establishment of the Church of England. C. The Glorious Revolution. D. The signing of the Magna Carta. Answer: B. The establishment of the Church of England. The Act of Supremacy in 1534 declared King Henry VIII the supreme head of the Church of England, leading to its establishment separate from the Catholic Church. Question 6. Which English monarch was executed in 1649 and why? A. Charles I for treason against Parliament. B. Henry VII for heresy. C. Edward VI for incompetence. D. James I for witchcraft. Answer: A. Charles I for treason against Parliament. Charles I was executed in 1649 following the English Civil War, marking a significant moment in the struggle between monarchy and Parliament. Question 7. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 established the supremacy of which body over the monarchy? A. The Church of England. B. The House of Lords. C. Parliament. D. The House of Commons. Answer: C. Parliament. The Glorious Revolution established the supremacy of Parliament over the monarchy, leading to the constitutional monarchy that exists today. Question 8. In what year did the Act of Union between England and Scotland come into effect, creating the Kingdom of Great Britain? A. 1603. B. 1707. C. 1801. D. 1901. Answer: B. 1707. The Act of Union 1707 came into effect, unifying England and Scotland into the single Kingdom of Great Britain. Question 9. Describe the main cause of the Jacobite risings in the 18th century. A. Economic hardship in Scotland. B. Religious conflicts between Catholics and Protestants. C. The desire to restore the Stuart monarchy to the throne. D. Disputes over land and clan leadership in the Scottish Highlands. Answer: C. The desire to restore the Stuart monarchy to the throne. The Jacobite risings were primarily driven by the aim to restore the ousted Stuart monarchy to the throne of Britain. Question 10. What was the primary result of the Great Reform Act of 1832? A. The abolition of slavery throughout the British Empire. B. The expansion of the electoral franchise in Britain. C. The establishment of the Church of England. D. The end of the Wars of the Roses. Answer: B. The expansion of the electoral franchise in Britain. The Great Reform Act of 1832 significantly expanded the electoral franchise, marking a step towards modern democratic governance in Britain. Question 11. Which British Prime Minister is associated with the phrase, "The sun never sets on the British Empire"? A. Winston Churchill. B. Benjamin Disraeli. C. David Lloyd George. D. Lord Palmerston. Answer: B. Benjamin Disraeli. Benjamin Disraeli is often associated with the phrase, "The sun never sets on the British Empire," highlighting the vastness of the empire during its peak. Question 12. In which battle did Admiral Nelson die, and why is it significant? A. The Battle of Trafalgar. B. The Battle of Waterloo. C. The Battle of the Nile. D. The Battle of Britain. Answer: A. The Battle of Trafalgar. Admiral Nelson died in the Battle of Trafalgar, which is significant for ensuring British naval supremacy over Napoleon's forces. Question 13. What was the main outcome of the Treaty of Union 1707 for Scotland and England? A. Scotland retained its parliament. B. England and Scotland formed the United Kingdom of Great Britain. C. Scotland gained independence from England. D. England and Scotland engaged in a shared monarchy but separate parliaments. Answer: B. England and Scotland formed the United Kingdom of Great Britain. The Treaty of Union 1707 led to the creation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, merging the English and Scottish parliaments. Question 14. Name the reforms enacted by the Factory Acts of the 19th century. A. Reduction in the number of factories. B. Improved working conditions and limited working hours for children. C. Abolition of child labour. D. Nationalisation of factories. Answer: B. Improved working conditions and limited working hours for children. The Factory Acts introduced reforms that improved working conditions, especially for children, in the 19th century. Question 15. Who was the first woman to be elected to the House of Commons, and in what year? A. Margaret Thatcher, 1959. B. Nancy Astor, 1919. C. Theresa May, 1997. D. Barbara Castle, 1945. Answer: B. Nancy Astor, 1919. Nancy Astor was the first woman to take a seat in the House of Commons in 1919. Question 16. Detail the significance of the Battle of Britain in 1940. A. It marked the end of World War II. B. It was the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. C. It led to the invasion of Britain by German forces. D. It resulted in Britain gaining territories in Europe. Answer: B. It was the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was significant as the first major conflict to be fought entirely in the air, marking a turning point in World War II. Question 17. What was the main purpose of the Beveridge Report? A. To propose the establishment of the National Health Service. B. To detail the effects of the Black Death. C. To outline reforms for post-war reconstruction. D. To investigate the causes of the Great Fire of London. Answer. A. To propose the establishment of the National Health Service. The Beveridge Report outlined the foundation for the modern welfare state, including the establishment of the National Health Service, NHS. Question 18. Explain the significance of the Suez Crisis of 1956 for British foreign policy. A. It marked the expansion of the British Empire in the Middle East. B. It demonstrated the strength of the British military. C. It highlighted the decline of British imperial power. D. It resulted in a significant victory for British forces. Answer. C. It highlighted the decline of British imperial power. The Suez Crisis exposed the limitations of Britain's ability to act independently on the world stage without the support of allies, particularly the United States. Question 19. What were the main provisions of the Good Friday Agreement in 1998? A. The reunification of Ireland. B. The end of the British monarchy. C. The establishment of devolved government in Northern Ireland. D. The creation of the European Union. Answer. C. The establishment of devolved government in Northern Ireland. The Good Friday Agreement brought an end to the Troubles by establishing a devolved government and setting the stage for peaceful coexistence in Northern Ireland. Question 20. In what year did the UK vote to join the European Economic Community, and when did it actually join? A. Voted in 1973, joined in 1973. B. Voted in 1972, joined in 1973. C. Voted in 1975, joined in 1973. D. Voted in 1975, joined in 1975. Answer. B. Voted in 1972, joined in 1973. The UK voted to join the European Economic Community in 1972 and officially became a member in 1973. Question 21. What was the primary purpose of the Magna Carta Libertatum signed in 1215? A. To declare independence from France. B. To limit the powers of the king and protect the rights of the nobility. C. To establish the Church of England. D. To expand the British Empire. Answer. B. To limit the powers of the king and protect the rights of the nobility. The Magna Carta Libertatum was a landmark document that limited the powers of the king and laid the foundation for future legal principles in England. Question 22. Who was responsible for the establishment of the Church of England? A. Queen Elizabeth I. B. King Henry VIII. C. King James I. D. Queen Victoria. Answer. B. King Henry VIII. King Henry VIII was responsible for the establishment of the Church of England, breaking away from the Roman Catholic Church. Question 23. Detail the economic and social impacts of the Black Death on medieval England. A. It led to a significant increase in wealth and prosperity. B. It caused a decrease in population, but led to social and economic reforms. C. It had no significant impact on the society or economy. D. It resulted in the expansion of the British Empire. Answer. B. It caused a decrease in population, but led to social and economic reforms. The Black Death significantly reduced the population, which led to labor shortages, higher wages for workers, and ultimately social and economic reforms. Question 24. What was the main significance of the Bill of Rights 1689? A. It affirmed the divine right of kings. B. It established the principles of parliamentary democracy. C. It declared war on France. D. It abolished the monarchy. Answer: B. It established the principles of parliamentary democracy. The Bill of Rights 1689 laid down limits on the powers of the Crown and set out the rights of Parliament, establishing the framework for a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy. Question 25. Name the scientist who played a key role in the development of the theory of evolution by natural selection. A. Isaac Newton. B. Albert Einstein. C. Charles Darwin. D. Stephen Hawking. Answer: C. Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin played a key role in the development of the theory of evolution by natural selection with his work on the origin of species. Question 26. Explain the significance of the Corn Laws and their repeal. A. They protected British agriculture, and their repeal in 1846 marked the beginning of free trade. B. They imposed strict tariffs on imported tea, and their repeal led to the Boston Tea Party. C. They restricted the sale of corn outside the UK, and their repeal led to widespread famine. D. They were laws governing the inheritance of cornfields, and their repeal modernized British agriculture. Answer: A. They protected British agriculture, and their repeal in 1846 marked the beginning of free trade. The Corn Laws were tariffs and trade restrictions on imported grain to protect domestic producers, and their repeal symbolized the shift towards free trade. Question 27. What role did Britain play in the abolition of the slave trade? A. Britain was the last European country to abolish the slave trade. B. Britain played a leading role in the international movement to abolish the slave trade in the early 19th century. C. Britain opposed the abolition of the slave trade until the late 19th century. D. Britain had no significant role in the abolition of the slave trade. Answer: B. Britain played a leading role in the international movement to abolish the slave trade in the early 19th century. The British Parliament passed the Slave Trade Act in 1807, making it illegal to engage in the slave trade throughout the British Empire. Question 28. Which British monarch reigned during the Victorian era, and why was this period significant? A. Queen Elizabeth I. It was marked by the Elizabethan religious settlement. B. King George III. It was known for the American Revolution. C. Queen Victoria. It was a time of industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military change within the United Kingdom. D. King Edward VII. It was significant for the introduction of the welfare state. Answer: C. Queen Victoria. It was a time of industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military change within the United Kingdom. The Victorian era, named after Queen Victoria, was a period of significant transformation and progress in British society. Question 29. Detail the cause and outcome of the English Civil War. A. Caused by religious differences, it resulted in the establishment of the Church of England. B. Caused by disputes over parliamentary power versus the monarchy, it led to the execution of Charles I and the establishment of a Commonwealth. C. Caused by economic disagreements, it ended with the Magna Carta. D. Caused by colonial tensions, it resulted in the independence of the American colonies. Answer: B. Caused by disputes over parliamentary power versus the monarchy, it led to the execution of Charles I and the establishment of a Commonwealth. The English Civil War was a series of armed conflicts and political machinations between parliamentarians and royalists. Question 30. What was the main impact of the Industrial Revolution on British society? A. It led to a decrease in urban populations as people moved to rural areas for work. B. It resulted in the decline of the British Empire. C. It caused a significant increase in agricultural productivity. D. It transformed the economy and society, leading to urbanization, new technologies, and significant changes in working and living conditions. Answer: D. It transformed the economy and society, leading to urbanization, new technologies, and significant changes in working and living conditions. The Industrial Revolution marked a major turning point in history, with its effects felt globally. Question 31. Who were the suffragettes and what did they achieve? A. A political movement that successfully campaigned for the abolition of the monarchy. B. A group of women who fought for women's rights, particularly the right to vote, which was achieved with the Representation of the People Act 1918. C. A military group that defended Britain in World War II. D. Scientists who made significant contributions to the theory of evolution. Answer: B. A group of women who fought for women's rights, particularly the right to vote, which was achieved with the Representation of the People Act 1918. The suffragettes were instrumental in the campaign for women's suffrage in the UK. Question 32. Detail the significance of the Battle of Somme in World War I. A. It was a decisive victory that ended the war. B. It marked the first use of tanks on the battlefield. C. One of the bloodiest battles in human history. It symbolized the horrors of trench warfare and had over 1 million casualties. D. It led directly to the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. Answer: C. One of the bloodiest battles in human history. It symbolized the horrors of trench warfare and had over 1 million casualties. The Battle of the Somme is remembered for its heavy loss of life and little strategic gain. Question 33. What was the primary goal of the Marshall Plan, in which Britain participated after World War II? A. To rebuild American cities devastated by the war. B. To provide military support to countries threatened by communism. C. To promote British exports to rebuild the economy. D. To help rebuild war-torn European economies, including Britain's, to prevent the spread of communism. Answer: D. To help rebuild war-torn European economies, including Britain's, to prevent the spread of communism. The Marshall Plan was an American initiative to aid Western Europe, in which Britain was a significant beneficiary. Question 34. Explain the significance of the Falklands War for the UK. A. It resulted in the UK losing the Falkland Islands to Argentina. B. It was a minor conflict that had little impact on British society or politics. C. It was a successful military campaign that affirmed British sovereignty over the Falkland Islands and boosted national pride. D. It led to a long-lasting peace agreement between the UK and Argentina. Answer: C. It was a successful military campaign that affirmed British sovereignty over the Falkland Islands and boosted national pride. The Falklands War in 1982 was a point of national rallying and had significant political consequences for the UK. Question 35. What major social and economic reforms were introduced by the post-war Labour government? A. Privatisation of major industries and reduction of social welfare programmes. B. The establishment of the welfare state, including the National Health Service and nationalisation of key industries. C. Deregulation of the financial sector and reduction of taxes. D. Expansion of the British Empire through colonisation. Answer: B. The establishment of the welfare state, including the National Health Service and nationalisation of key industries. The post-war Labour government introduced significant reforms that laid the foundations of the modern British welfare state. Question 36. Describe the main features of the welfare state established in the UK after 1945. A. An emphasis on private healthcare and education. B. A system based on principles of universalism, providing social security, healthcare, and education to all citizens. C. A focus on military spending and imperial expansion. D. The promotion of free market policies and minimal government intervention. Answer. B. A system based on principles of universalism, providing social security, healthcare, and education to all citizens. The welfare state, established after 1945, aimed to provide comprehensive social security, public health care, and educational opportunities to all UK citizens. Question 37. Who was the longest-serving Prime Minister of the 20th century, and what are they best known for? A. Winston Churchill, leading Britain during World War II. B. Margaret Thatcher, her economic policies and role in the Falklands War. C. Tony Blair, his role in the Good Friday Agreement and the Iraq War. D. Clement Attlee, establishing the welfare state and decolonisation. Answer. B. Margaret Thatcher, their economic policies and role in the Falklands War. Margaret Thatcher, the longest-serving Prime Minister of the 20th century, is best known for her conservative economic policies and leadership during the Falklands War. Question 38. Detail the significance of the decolonisation process post-World War II for the UK. A. It led to the expansion of the British Empire. B. It resulted in economic decline and the loss of global influence. C. It had no significant impact on the UK or its former colonies. D. It improved relations with the United States and strengthened the Commonwealth. Answer. B. It resulted in economic decline and the loss of global influence. The decolonisation process marked the end of the British Empire, leading to economic challenges and a revaluation of Britain's role in the world. Question 39. What was the Troubles in Northern Ireland, and how was it resolved? A. A period of economic depression that was resolved with the Marshall Plan. B. A conflict over independence from the UK, resolved by the Scottish referendum. C. A political and sectarian conflict, largely resolved by the Good Friday Agreement of 1998. D. A dispute over water rights, resolved through international arbitration. Answer. C. A political and sectarian conflict, largely resolved by the Good Friday Agreement of 1998. The Troubles refers to the conflict in Northern Ireland involving nationalist/Republican and unionist/loyalist groups, with the Good Friday Agreement marking a significant step towards peace. Question 40. Explain the impact of the Thatcherite reforms on the British economy and society. A. They led to a more equal distribution of wealth and a decrease in unemployment. B. They resulted in significant economic growth, but also increased social inequality and industrial decline in some areas. C. They had little to no impact, as they were quickly reversed by subsequent governments. D. They focused on expanding the welfare state and nationalising industries. Answer. B. They resulted in significant economic growth, but also increased social inequality and industrial decline in some areas. The Thatcherite reforms, characterised by deregulation, privatisation, and a reduction in the power of trade unions, had a profound impact on the structure of the British economy and society. Question 41. What were the main reasons behind the creation of the Scottish Parliament in 1999? A. To strengthen the United Kingdom by centralising legislative power. B. To provide Scotland with greater autonomy and recognise its national identity within the UK. C. To negotiate Scotland's exit from the United Kingdom. D. To reduce Scotland's influence on UK-wide legislation. Answer. B. To provide Scotland with greater autonomy and recognise its national identity within the UK. The creation of the Scottish Parliament was a result of the devolution process aimed at providing Scotland with greater control over its domestic affairs. Question 42. Detail the significance of the Human Rights Act 1998. A. It made the European Convention on Human Rights part of UK law, strengthening the protection of human rights. B. It established the National Health Service in the UK. C. It was a treaty that ended World War II. D. It deregulated the financial sector in the UK. Answer. A. It made the European Convention on Human Rights part of UK law, strengthening the protection of human rights. The Human Rights Act 1998 was significant for incorporating the rights set out in the European Convention on Human Rights into UK law, allowing UK citizens to defend their rights in UK courts. Question 43. Who was the first British astronaut to visit the International Space Station? A. Tim Peake. B. Helen Sharman. C. Michael Foale. D. Richard Branson. Answer. A. Tim Peake. Tim Peake became the first British astronaut to visit the International Space Station in December 2015, conducting various scientific experiments during his mission. Question 44. Explain the role of the Commonwealth in post-imperial British foreign policy. A. To maintain Britain's imperial control over its former colonies. B. To foster economic ties and mutual support among former British colonies and the UK. C. To coordinate military operations between the UK and its allies. D. To restrict immigration from former colonies to the UK. Answer. B. To foster economic ties and mutual support among former British colonies and the UK. The Commonwealth plays a significant role in post-imperial British foreign policy by promoting cooperation, economic development, and mutual support among its member states, most of which are former territories of the British Empire. Question 45. What are the main challenges faced by the NHS since its inception in 1948? A. Overfunding and underutilisation of services. B. Decreasing demand for healthcare services. C. Funding constraints, rising demand for services, and staffing shortages. D. Lack of public support and interest in healthcare. Answer. C. Funding constraints, rising demand for services, and staffing shortages. Since its inception, the NHS has faced various challenges, including funding constraints, an increasing demand for healthcare services, and shortages of medical staff. Question 46. Detail the significance of Britain's nuclear deterrent policy during the Cold War. A. It led to Britain's isolation from NATO. B. It resulted in the immediate end of the Cold War. C. It played a key role in maintaining national security and deterring potential threats. D. It significantly weakened Britain's military position. Answer. C. It played a key role in maintaining national security and deterring potential threats. Britain's nuclear deterrent policy during the Cold War was significant for contributing to the country's defence strategy by deterring potential nuclear threats and maintaining international peace and security. Question 47. Explain the main consequences of the financial crisis of 2008 on the UK. A. It led to a brief period of economic prosperity. B. It resulted in a severe recession, banking instability, and significant government intervention. C. It had no significant impact on the UK's economy. D. It caused the UK to leave the European Union immediately. Answer. B. It resulted in a severe recession, banking instability, and significant government intervention. The financial crisis of 2008 had profound effects on the UK, including a severe recession, instability in the banking sector, and led to significant government interventions to stabilise the economy. Question 48. What is the significance of the Chartist movement in the 19th century? A. It successfully abolished the monarchy in the UK. B. It was a movement that campaigned for the reform of the UK's political system, including suffrage expansion. C. It focused on banning the use of child labour in factories. D. It led to the immediate implementation of its demands by the British government. Answer. B. It was a movement that campaigned for the reform of the UK's political system, including suffrage expansion. The Chartist movement was significant for its role in advocating for political reforms and the expansion of suffrage, contributing to the gradual democratisation of the British political system. Question 49. Describe the changes to the UK's voting system proposed by the alternative vote referendum in 2011. A. To replace the first-past-the-post system with a proportional representation system. B. To allow only landowners to vote. C. To replace the first-past-the-post system with the alternative vote system. D. To abolish elections and implement a lottery system for selecting representatives. Answer. C. To replace the first-past-the-post system with the alternative vote system. The 2011 alternative vote referendum proposed changing the UK's voting system for electing members of Parliament to the alternative vote system, where voters rank candidates in order of preference. Question 50. What was the purpose of the Royal Commission on the Press, and what did it conclude? A. To investigate the influence of social media on journalism, concluding that traditional newspapers were obsolete. B. To explore the financial challenges facing print media, recommending significant government subsidies. C. To examine the press's conduct and management, leading to recommendations for self-regulation. D. To design a new national newspaper, which was ultimately not implemented. Answer. C. To examine the press's conduct and management, leading to recommendations for self-regulation. The Royal Commission on the Press was established to investigate the press's practices, ethics and management, and it concluded with recommendations for the industry's self-regulation to ensure journalistic standards and accountability. Question 51. Explain the significance of the Windrush generation to British society. A. It refers to a group of politicians who shaped post-war Britain. B. It marks the first wave of large-scale voluntary immigration from the Caribbean to the UK, symbolising the beginning of modern British multicultural society. C. It represents a famous British musical band from the 1960s. D. It was a military unit composed of immigrants during World War II. Answer. B. It marks the first wave of large-scale voluntary immigration from the Caribbean to the UK, symbolising the beginning of modern British multicultural society. The Windrush generation is significant for its impact on shaping British social, cultural and political life, highlighting the diversity and multiculturalism of the UK. Question 52. What major legal reform did the Marriage, Same-Sex Couples, Act 2013 introduce? A. It legalised same-sex marriage in England and Wales. B. It banned same-sex marriage throughout the UK. C. It introduced civil partnerships for heterosexual couples. D. It prohibited discrimination based on marital status. Answer. A. It legalised same-sex marriage in England and Wales. The Marriage, Same-Sex Couples, Act 2013 was a major legal reform that allowed same-sex couples to marry, marking a significant step towards equality. Question 53. Detail the significance of the Climate Change Act 2008 for UK environmental policy. A. It mandated an immediate cessation of all industrial activity. B. It established legally binding targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. C. It banned the use of all non-renewable energy sources. D. It focused exclusively on promoting nuclear energy. Answer: B. It established legally binding targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. The Climate Change Act 2008 was significant for being the first legislation of its kind to set long-term and legally binding environmental targets, aiming to address climate change. Question 54. What was the main outcome of the Scottish independence referendum in 2014? A. Scotland became an independent country. B. Scotland voted to remain part of the United Kingdom. C. Scotland joined the European Union as an independent member. D. The referendum was postponed indefinitely. Answer: B. Scotland voted to remain part of the United Kingdom. The Scottish independence referendum in 2014 resulted in a majority of voters choosing to remain part of the UK, affirming Scotland's status within the Union. Question 55. Explain the constitutional implications of the UK Supreme Court's establishment in 2009. A. It abolished the role of the monarchy in the UK. B. It led to the UK adopting a written constitution. C. It marked the separation of judicial authority from the House of Lords, enhancing the independence of the judiciary. D. It transferred legislative powers from Parliament to the Supreme Court. Answer: C. It marked the separation of judicial authority from the House of Lords, enhancing the independence of the judiciary. The establishment of the UK Supreme Court in 2009 had significant constitutional implications by creating a clear separation of powers, ensuring that the highest court in the land was independent from both the legislative and executive branches.